Welcome, everybody, to the Patty G Show. I'm your host, Patty G. I'm here with Chuck P., the producer of the Jay Ducote Show in the afternoon on Talk 107.3, 4 to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Am I right?
That is it, 4 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday. They've significantly reached the three-digit numbers recently. You're all at 130-something, I think.
Episode-wise?
Yeah.
Or, no, I think we're 161 tomorrow, maybe.
Oh, jeez.
That might be right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Jay's thing to keep. He wants to keep track of every episode,
right?
Which is cool. And then we were talking last week, and I said, when do we get to the point where it's like Volume 1 is ended, we start Volume 2,
right?
And he said, what about we just do seasons like a TV show?
Yeah, and I do that with the podcast. It's, okay, season 1 was 2019. Mm-hmm. Season 2 is 2020, and so each year I'm going to say, hey, 2021 we're coming on season 3.
Yeah,
and just keeping that rolling each year to year for every season, as opposed to I'm at episode. I'm gonna still be like episode 30, but it's for like iTunes, for example, it'll be like season 2, episode 22 or whatnot.
Exactly.
But on the actual podcast website, it's episode 30 something.
Yeah.
And so it kind of keeps rolling from there.
It's a good way to do that, especially for Apple Podcast and stuff like that. Cameras, get them shots.
That's it. That's what you get with a full production quality.
I feel just like out of my league here with all these cameras and there's lighting. The atmosphere that we're at here is awesome. I love this. I could move in and just like live right there in the corner if you don't mind.
You can. Come on. We'll hang a hammock.
I'll pay some
rent,
get you in
here. Hey, that works for me, man. So Chuck, you're mostly known for producing the Jay Ducote Show, or am I wrong? Or do I just know you mostly from there?
No, I mean that's how a lot of people know me, is from my my connections with Jay. I've been doing stuff with Jay since about 2012.
Okay.
I played music in many bands here in Baton Rouge over the years. Played with this band, the Allison Collins Band, way back in the mid-'90s at the Catery.
Okay.
That was over on Perkins and Acadian. We played there for 7 years. I played with the Antiques. That's my most recent band. I played with those guys for about 6 years. And I've been playing with this band Hip Deep for about a year or so until all this madness happened and lost all our gigs. But yeah, a lot of people know me specifically just from hanging out with Jay and just being involved with his radio show and just meeting people through there. A lot of the restaurant people, a lot of the beer people that I know, it's definitely through Jay and his connections.
Mm-hmm. So what does the music scene like in Baton Rouge as far as like from a band member's perspective?
Right now, dead.
Pre-COVID,
yeah,
what were we looking at?
We live in a cover band town,
right?
Which is good and bad. I mean, it's good for me. There was a long period of time where all I did was play cover music. I didn't have a day job, and I was playing 4 nights a week, 5 nights a week, and it's great. It's fun. You play, if you're lucky enough to have a band where you can play the music you want to play, and people still enjoy that. Which was why the Antiques are such a successful band, because we played the music we wanted to play, and it's not like we made the crowd adapt to us, but we just played songs that they knew that they didn't hear all the time from every other band. Like we weren't playing Brown Eyed Girl and all the generic stuff that everybody else plays. Unfortunately for original music, it's tough, and it's always been tough here. You have people that will come out to a show and say, "Hey, play something you wrote." And you play it, and they're like, "All right, cool, play Skinner."
Play something else we can all sing along to.
Yeah, and it sucks because there's so many great local bands here that are putting out really good original music.
Right.
Two off the top of my head that I'm good friends with: Dalton Wayne and the Warmadillos, the Hitchhiker, Luis Mariani, and all those guys. Putting out great stuff. Chemical City Rebels, another great band. They're out of Gonzales. They're putting out really cool music. But especially now, there's no place for anybody to play.
Yeah.
And it's tough to find a venue that caters to that, to where you can get the support for people to go out and give the local bands their due. Cover bands, we're just all over the place. I mean, everywhere you go, casinos, Superior Grill, what have you, there's a cover band there. And I don't want to say people don't support cover bands, because they do. I mean, the Antiques have a huge following. When I played with Allison Collins every Thursday night at the Catery back in the 90s, we would pack 500, 600 people in on a Thursday night.
Oh, jeez.
Like, consistently for like a year we did that, and it was just insane. Because, I mean, people still want to come out and sing songs that they know. They want to have a good time with all their friends. Original music's
Live music sells.
Yeah. Original music's a little bit tougher because if they don't know it and they don't recognize the band. And I've been to other cities where cover bands aren't as successful and don't make any money, and the original bands are what people go out to see.
Yeah.
So it's a not damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, but I look at it as whether you play an original band or you play in a cover band, if you're enjoying what you're doing and you're having fun and you're creating music with your friends and you're having a great time, that's all that matters, really.
Yeah, and that's the thing about music and even entrepreneurship or doing anything in life is doing it because you enjoy it, not because you have to. Especially with playing music. I mean, if you're not enjoying it and you're not able to do this and that with your band, why are you in the band?
Yeah, if you feel like you're sitting behind a cubicle, if I'm sitting behind my drums and I'm doing something wrong and I need to get out of there real quick.
You feel like you're in a cubicle behind a set of drums?
Yeah.
Something went wrong
way
before you got on the stage.
Yeah, I'm happy to say I've never had a cubicle job.
Right.
I'm kind of keeping it that way.
Okay.
I've been lucky. I've been pretty lucky.
So, I mean, when you think of music, everybody thinks of like Nashville.
Yeah.
Or they think, the music town where you go to make it big. What do you think it would take to make something like that happen in Baton Rouge?
Support for the local artist, people getting out there, people buying their CDs or going to Bandcamp or SoundCloud or wherever they put it and buy it. Go to shows, buy merchandise. Just support those bands. Support those bands as if you were like you were in love with Dave Matthews and you were traveling all over the country to see Dave Matthews shows. Like, put that effort into a local band. And it's such a Baton Rouge has never been like the music scene. New Orleans is always going to overshadow Baton Rouge when it comes to that. And now even Lafayette's putting out some really good bands as well. Forming the Void's one of my favorite bands out of Lafayette, really good band. And Nashville is always going to be the spot that people, specifically in the last 15 years, 20 years or so, Nashville has just been a hot spot for everybody to go to and make it big. More so than like going to L.A. or going to New York. Atlanta was like that for a while. I was out in Atlanta for a little bit playing with some friends and seeing how that scene was going. And it was like you walked into the local record store and their local section was Outkast and Black Crowes and R.E.M. and stuff like that. I'm going,
this is not our local section.
Definitely not. I'm not in Baton Rouge anymore.
Right.
So yeah, it just takes people to go out and support that local band. And again, it's just tough. People want to go out on a weekend, they want to party, they want to drink, they want to sing along with the band. If they can't, they're not going to do it.
Yeah, and that's the toughest part, and I guess that's why cover bands are so successful. Is because they're playing something that everybody's familiar with. But I think it's kind of like when I go to a live show with somebody, I want to hear, maybe one or two of their originals.
Yeah.
That can eventually say, hey, I recognize this tune by now. But it's almost, we have like, a couple local radio stations here, so maybe even talking to those as a local band saying, hey, we have a couple originals. What's it going to take to get airspace?
Exactly. James Gilmore, who is on 100.7 The Tiger, has a local show that he does, and I'm going to probably butcher the name, James, if you're watching. I'm sorry. I think it's Raised in Tiger Country, and it's an hour show that plays local country acts that are here in Louisiana and Baton Rouge. I actually asked about doing that when I was on Eagle. I had a show called The Night's Watch. I was doing that for a while from 7 to midnight on Eagle. I still do it on Saturday nights. I've recently stepped away from it because Jay's show is just demanding more time. Like, I'm the producer. I'm the co-host. There's other things I'm doing in the background while the show is going on. So it just demanded more of my attention. They have me on Brian Haldane's Breaking Point show from 11 to 1 now, so I'm doing that too. So I had to step away from Eagle. But one of the things I did bring up when I first started was wanting to do either on a Tuesday or Wednesday night or even on a Sunday, just 1 hour to showcase local music here in Baton Rouge.
Right.
Because I know enough people that want to support them, and there's a lot of those bands that a lot of people don't know in Baton Rouge because there's not a lot of venues here to showcase them besides, getting a show at the Varsity, hoping if a big act comes into town and they need some support, you can get on that bill and people see you. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of the local bars are going to book a complete local show. It's going to be tough. Brickyard South would be a place to do that if they were open right now. Phil Brady's has done that over the last couple years. They've booked some original shows there. So that's a place that normally they only had cover bands there, and they started opening up and doing original shows. So that's another thing. Some of the local establishments need to have a night and support local music, and have a night for local bands to get out there and showcase themselves.
Yeah, using local to support local.
Exactly, that's the key.
I love it. So you said you've never had a cubicle job, and I want to go down that rabbit hole.
Okay,
I want to go back to probably.
I was born in 1972. It was a cold Monday. I don't know. 72 is correct. That's
okay, but maybe not a cold Monday.
I think it was like a Wednesday, maybe. I don't know.
Cold Wednesday. All right, so we'll roll from there. All right, so you're just newborn. Okay, so you go
Yes.
home.
First, there was darkness.
Okay, but no, like, what are some of your earliest memories? Because not having a cubicle job is a route that not everybody's going to take.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to, your normal people, I say normal, the average Joe is going to go through their schooling, go through their high schooling, go through their college, and then get a job. May not be in, directly in a cubicle.
Yeah.
But it's going to be working for somebody else full time, and that's their only gig. They're going to show up to their 9, they're going to leave at their 5, they're going to go home, and that's their job. Until whatever happens in their life that's going to make that change. Can you think back to a moment in time that was that point where you're like, I don't want to do that?
Well, I grew up in Plaquemine, which is 20 minutes over the bridge right here. And pretty much everyone in Plaquemine worked at Dow Chemical.
Mm-hmm.
Like their parents worked at Dow Chemical, their grandparents worked at Dow Chemical. And I started seeing, as I was getting older, the path seemed to be you went through school, you married your high school sweetheart, your family member got you a job in the plant, you worked there for a few years, ended up getting divorced with 3 kids, having to pay child support and alimony to an ex-wife, being a miserable drunk, hanging out at the local bar after your 9-to-5 shift at the plant. And I saw a lot of people do that, and I had a few friends that went that path, and I just said to myself, that is never going to be me.
Mm-hmm.
No way. So, of course, being in love with music as a kid and learning to play drums and stuff, I wanted to be a musician. I want to play music for the rest of my life. Obviously, you can't do that. I thought I could, but you have to get a day job. So I think my first real job was I was working security and maintenance at this hospital in Plaquemine.
Okay.
Did that for about a year or so, and then actually and then started working at a video store. Was managing a video store, and got the opportunity to go try out for this band, which ended up being the Allison Collins band. And literally for the first 4.5 years playing with them, I didn't have a job. All I did was play music.
So you just like your every day was playing music.
4 days a week playing music.
Where did y'all play?
Back then, this was 95, 96.
Yeah.
So the Catery, which was on Perkins and Acadian, was the big spot. We played there every Thursday.
Okay.
Cadillac Cafe was a place we played at. There was a place called Jack Kelly's that we played every Wednesday there for a while. We used to play a lot in Lafayette. We played out in New Orleans. There was a lot of places we would just travel around and go play. But then after a while, I got bored doing that. And I was like, I want something to do during the day.
Yeah.
and
I can only play these night shows for so long.
Yeah, and I met a guy that worked at Blockbuster Video.
Okay.
And
Blockbuster, we're taking it.
Yeah, we're taking it way
back.
And he was like, dude, I can give you a couple hours a day at work. Obviously, you play a gig. You won't have to work any nights or weekends. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I started doing that like three days a week just for fun. And then I got bored with that and decided I want to go back to playing music, and did that until about 2004.
Okay.
And around 2003, I had my son, which really made me step up and be like, all right, I have to get a job. I can't be a musician full time. So started working at PreSonus here in Baton Rouge. Worked there for 3 years, and then got a warehouse job for about 8 years.
Okay.
And during that time is where I started hearing about this thing called a podcast. And I'm like, what's a podcast? Like,
now we're up to like the 2010 era?
This is about 2009. 2010.
Okay.
I had some friends that were trying to put together a podcast, and they couldn't figure out what they wanted to do. They spent a year, literally, trying to figure out what their concept was going to be, what they were going to talk about, what kind of guest. And they kept saying, we want you involved, we want you involved. So I waited around, and finally I went, you know what, screw this.
Yeah.
Picked up my phone, turned on the voice memo, and talked for 35 minutes.
Same. I did the same. Mine was 5. I wasn't bold enough to go for 35. I did 5 minutes, but the same thing with this.
Yeah. So did that, and then one of the guys who I was waiting on, he heard it, and he's like, what did you do? I'm like, I put my phone on the coffee table and started talking. About what? I'm like, well, listen to it and find out. So he heard it, and he was like, all right, cool, let's do it. So then we got 2 other guys involved. That's how the Me and My Big Mouth podcast started. We got onto iTunes and put it up on there. We did like 125 episodes.
Oh, gosh.
And then I got married. So there with the podcast.
It's a delicate balance.
Yeah. 2012 I got married, so the podcast it kept going, but it kind of lost some of the momentum. And then that faded for a bit, and then started working for Tin Roof, and then eventually met up with Jay.
Okay.
And Jay had and he still does have his Bite and Booze radio show that's on Talk every Saturday. And I told him, I was like, look, I know you do that in the studio once a week. If you ever need to go to a restaurant or a bar or whatever,
right,
I'll come and record it. We'll use my gear. So he's like, great, that'd be awesome. So we started doing that more, and I slowly started becoming a co-host with him.
Mm-hmm.
So that happened, and stopped working for Tin Roof, started working for him doing sales and marketing for his product line, and got offered a part-time position at Talk for their old morning show with Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher.
Okay.
So did that for about, I guess, 6 or 7 months. And my position with Jay had gotten to the point where I couldn't really do much else with the product line, like, unless he got with a big distributor or something. Like, I can't go to Winn-Dixie and tell him, hey, you need to put this barbecue sauce on your shelf.
Right.
So I told him, I was like, look, I'm going to have to quit. It's going back to warehouse work. Didn't want to go back to warehouse work, but money was good.
Wife.
Got stuff to do. At this time, I just had a little girl, and I'm also in the middle of a divorce. So factors everywhere.
Money needs to happen.
Money needs to happen. So go back to warehouse work, and at that point, Jay tells me that Guaranty Media is looking to buy his brand, buy Government Taco, buy Bite and Booze and all that stuff, and offered him for an afternoon drive radio show. And when they asked him about that, he brought up my name and said, I want Chuck P to be a part of that. How can we make that happen? So it took a little while trying to figure things out, and ended up where Dan Day, who was on Eagle doing day at night, was moving to Florida. So they need someone to take his place. It was like, all right, we'll put you with Jay producing, co-hosting, but we're also going to put you over here on Eagle to do nights. And I'm like, cool, let's do it. So that's pretty much where we are right now in the journey of Chuck P. There's a lot of other stuff I could have put in there, but nobody wants to hear it.
Oh, I think they do.
Well. Oh, they've heard it and they're like, God, here he goes again with that story.
There's another tangent.
Here he goes talking about Bourbon Street again.
Oh, geez, Bourbon Street, man.
Yeah.
Right. So you helped Jay explore the mobile podcasting world that it is.
Yeah, and it got to the point where Jay wasn't even doing his show in studio anymore. It was just easier to do it out of studio, because when he was doing it in studio, he had to be in there every Wednesday from like 1 to 3 was his block.
Right.
And as Jay kept putting out more products and more things were happening, Food Network stuff and all that, his time was just getting to the point where he couldn't do it. So it was easier for us to schedule stuff to go to a bar, restaurant, or store and just record it and then send it to the radio station and have them do whatever they need to do to get it on the air.
Yeah. And now we've got the Burger Smith gauntlet.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I was very happy when he got Burger Smith on as a sponsor. I love Burger Smith. It's one of the when we go there, they look forward to see what kind of concoctions Jay and I are going to come up with for burgers. And it's the more that looks like it's going to kill you with one bite, the better, in my opinion. I want to put as much unhealthy things on a burger that I possibly can. I think the first one I did there with Jay was it was a brisket patty with chili, cheese, bacon, a fried egg, and the buns were grilled cheese sandwiches.
Wait, like sandwiches?
Yes, but you can't get like the adult grilled cheese sandwiches at Burger King.
Okay.
I mean Burger Smith. Sorry.
Name drop.
Yeah, because they're too big, so you have to get the children's grilled cheese sandwiches.
Okay.
And use those as buns.
Gotcha. That just
Sounds great, doesn't it?
that sounds delicious.
It was delicious.
and
also
sounds like
gives
it
you
went down very smooth.
Oh well, yeah, went out even smoother. uh, but yeah, I like to do crazy things with food, and I get yelled at about it all the time because it's like it's unhealthy, and I shouldn't be doing that. And I'm getting up in age, and I've got 2 kids, so I should be worried about them, and I
Right.
do. It's not like I'm
Right.
I'm not putting junk in my body all the time.
Yeah.
I do, and I'm not trying to hide that. All you have
Right.
to do is look at me, for Christ's sake. I'm not eating as healthy as I should be.
But it's South Louisiana.
It is South Louisiana, where we fry everything. We'd fry this
Right.
rug and eat it if we could, probably.
I'm sure somebody has. I'm not.
I wouldn't put it past anyone if they've done it, for sure.
Right. And it's so in the Louisiana culture. I mean, food is such a big part that it's surprising to me how many and how not how easily it is, but how many people can make a career out of food
Yeah.
in Louisiana. You got Jay as a prime example of that. Selling his product line and doing the Bite and Booze show and just talking about food and drinks is something that Louisiana culture just jumps on.
Yeah. I mean, Jay started the Bite and Booze blog basically because he was sitting in a cubicle, bored with his job, and just wanted to have some fun, and was writing about what he was eating for lunch.
Yeah.
And turned into what it is now. I mean, he's not a trained chef. Everything he's learned on his own. But Jay is very motivating. He's very hardworking, and that's why his brand is as big as it is today. It's not because he sat there and got lucky with stuff. He worked hard at it. Now, you get lucky breaks from time to time,
Yeah.
but he worked hard to get where he is. And I'm happy that I'm able to be a small part of that,
Right.
and be able to just, like, we're best friends. Like, it's good that I get to go to work every day and I get to see my best friend.
Yeah.
Who
doesn't love that?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. And it's so weird. Like, I don't think Jay and I have ever had like a big argument or a disagreement or a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we might snap at each other over a certain thing from time to time, but I mean, most of all, we have a pretty solid relationship. So.
Yeah, and that's what best friends you're gonna do. You're gonna
Yeah.
have snaps. You're gonna have snafus, but at the end of the day, you're gonna be like, "Hey, man, sorry."
Yeah, I'm not sick of him yet, so it's fine.
Getting there, right?
Yeah, that head's starting to. No, I'm just.
So, but you're still doing your music gig, and
Yeah.
how has that shifted during these times? Like going from you were able to perform at live events, live venues,
Yeah.
and you're able to pack the house. Now you can't do that. How have y'all? Because I've seen y'all play a couple shows on Facebook, and y'all streamed a couple shows.
Yeah.
How has that kind of shifted, and is it still working?
It worked great when everyone wasn't doing it every day.
Yeah.
Like when it was a new thing and people were deciding, hey, we're just going to get on Facebook and we'll stream something this weekend and we'll put up a PayPal link, and if you want to send us some money, that's fine.
Yeah.
And the first time I did it, we got together with a couple friends. It was fantastic. We got great tips, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then like 2 weeks later, we did it again, and I think the first time we did it, we had at one point 195, almost 200 people watching us.
Oh, geez.
2 weeks later, it was like 24.
Yeah.
And the tips weren't where they were. And there's so many people out there that are doing that were doing it 3 to 4 times a day, or just doing it every day. And I think it just kind of wore people out. And then the extra income that people had at the beginning of all this started going away.
Right.
If they weren't working. So now they don't have that extra income to throw tips out and stuff, which sucks. I mean, I'd love it to still be working and have all my friends get on there and play and, make a little money just to help out. But honestly, and I was thinking about this the other day, and it scared me. It weirded me out. I actually thought to myself, you know what? If I don't play another show this year, I'm fine with that.
Really?
Like
another live show.
Like another live show. Like, I'm
like with people in the audience, not on like Facebook, but like a legit live show.
On. Like if I don't have another show where I'm like I go to the LaBerge and play at the Edge Bar. If I don't get called for another show, I'm okay.
Really?
I don't know if it's just me getting older, and like the problem I've always had is I'm horrible with money. Like I blow money on anything and everything. Like I'm the guy at the bar with my friends. Say, hey, let's go get a round of shots.
Yeah.
On me. Let's go.
On me, the whole bar.
Knowing I've got the house note to pay, the car note, and all that stuff. I'm terrible with money. But I've gotten to a point right now where it's the first time where I haven't needed to rely on music to help pay those bills. Like, I can pay my bills, but it's going to be close, but I need these 3 gigs coming up, or I don't know what I'm going to do. So these last few months of not playing and still being able to pay bills and being comfortable and not worrying about, like, I've got groceries at home. I don't know, man. It's kind of nice. I don't want it to get to the point where I'm looking at my weekend gig as it's a job.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and that's
that
when
takes
you
the
lose a
fun
lot
out
of the
of it.
fun. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
It doesn't take away from the people I'm playing with because I love playing with those people, but I also don't want to be the guy that looks like he's miserable while he's there, and I'm
Right.
only there for the money. I want to be there because I enjoy playing music. So I don't know. It kind of freaked me out when it just hit me. Like, I was staring at my drum set, and I was like, man, it's a Saturday. I'm going to set up my drums. I'm just going to play for a few hours. And I didn't do it. Like, I just literally looked at them for 10 minutes going, I could sell these things right now and not even be mad about it.
There's the house note.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's my cable bill. There's my car note. There's
Right.
whatever. So, I don't know, man. I say that now, but then you might find me tomorrow and I'm just like, bro, I can't wait to get out there and play a gig. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. My brain is...
When it's this time in particular is having a massive effect on people and
It is.
their thoughts not only on their job and their family, but their purpose that they've given to their life.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a situation in your life now that has shut down everything. We're starting to get back open now.
Yeah.
And probably by the time this podcast airs, we're going to be even more open. But at the same time, we've been shut down for 2 months. We haven't been able to go anywhere, do anything that we've normally been able to do, and it's changed people's perception.
Yes.
People are, really evaluating and reevaluating what is truly important to them and making cuts. That is stuff that's just time wasting, time filling, or something that was, I needed that then, but now that I've had this alone time with myself to really reflect, I don't need that. That was like an escape or something, but now I've had 2 months of escape from reality.
Now I'm ready to get back to work.
Right.
Yeah, I mean the big thing you saw from a lot of people was a lot of families reconnecting and bonding during all this.
Absolutely.
When they didn't have time to do that before because they were working so much, and like now they're spending more time with their kids and doing stuff like that. And that was another thing that kind of affected me. When my son was younger, I was playing a lot, and there was a lot that I missed out on him growing up. Not saying I was an absentee father. I was there, but he was living with his mother in Alexandria, so I wouldn't see him all the time. So, I'm seeing cool things when he's with me on that weekend, but during
Right.
the week, his mother is witnessing all these other little firsts that I don't get to be a part of. And so now that he's 16, and him and I have talked, and he realizes a lot of that was at that time. It's like, it's not that I didn't want to come get you this weekend.
Yeah.
Is that I had to play so I can have the money to come get you the next weekend.
Right.
And he's understood some of those sacrifices, and I think that's made us a lot closer. But the same thing's happening again now with my 5-year-old daughter, where it was like I was playing a good bit when she was born, and now that me and her mother are divorced and she's with her, I don't see a lot of her first. I'm seeing them through pictures that she'll send me or stuff like that.
Right.
So with having all these weekends off during this because we're not playing, and I'm trying to focus more time on having her at my house with me, it's making me see, like, as much as I love music, I'd rather be there for her and watch her grow like I couldn't watch my son grow.
Yeah.
And have those weekends open for both of them because I love having both of them at the house with me. They drive each other and me crazy. But
That's what kids are for.
yeah, that's exactly what kids are for. So, I mean, like, he's going to be a senior coming up, and it, like, blows my mind. Like,
Gosh.
he's about to be a senior, and he's ready to go to college and, start his life and get things
Right.
going. And my 5-year-old's getting bigger and sassier every day. So, like I said, if I have a choice of going play music or having them at the house, I think I'd rather just miss out on playing music and have them here with me.
Yeah, and that's That is something I'm seeing is starting to become so common with this whole COVID situation.
Yeah.
Is I'll go for my evening run with my wife, and sure enough, we'll see like 30 families on
Yeah,
the
dude.
streets. They're walking and they're riding their bikes. They're doing this. They're doing that. And before, I'd be lucky to see like 10 cars.
Dude.
It's a ghost town because everybody's running. Everybody's doing so many different things during the day that when they get home, they're just exhausted.
Yeah.
And they don't want to do anything. Well, now that people are forced to stay home or forced to work less hours, we find we have more energy to do things that really are important to us.
Yeah.
And it's finding out that, spending time with family is
It's very
it's
important.
a very important concept. It's a very important thing that we should be doing because, like you said, if you're not, you're going to miss out on the firsts.
Exactly.
You're going to become aware of the firsts through other means,
Yeah.
but you're really going to miss out on actually there.
Yeah. You just have to make sure, like, when they're with you, you create your first with them.
Yes.
You find things like my son he's huge into Star Wars. That was my thing growing up. I got him into Star Wars. He loves all the Marvel movies and stuff. And my thing, I love going to the movies. I'll go to the movies at the drop of a hat. I go by myself.
Right.
I don't care. I just love going to the movies. And I got to take him to his first movie and watch him witness, like we went to see Cars. It was the first movie I brought him to.
Yeah.
And watch him witness that, and like when the lights came on and all the colors, it was incredible. I'm getting a little misty-eyed thinking about it right now. But our big thing has always been the Marvel movies. Like when he was old enough to bring him to the movies. I think maybe the second Thor or something like that was where we started with him going to all these Marvel movies. So that was our journey. And when for these last two, Infinity War and Endgame, literally at the end of Endgame, him and I are both in the theater crying, watching the end of this movie. Like at the end of Infinity War, we walked out and didn't say anything to each other all the way home because we were in shock at what we just saw.
Right.
And then we're seeing like everything happen at the end of Endgame, and I just kind of glanced at him and I saw him tear up, and I'm just like,
That connection's there.
Yeah, it was just like it was that moment. Like we had this special moment. We bonded through these movies, and here we are at the end of 22 films, and we're both getting choked up over imaginary characters, and it's a good feeling. And we watch it even at home, and I still get choked up watching it with him.
I
He makes fun of me now, and I just laughs at me.
Dad, why are you crying? Come
Just
on,
look
Dad.
it up, Dad.
Yeah,
come
on, do something.
Yeah.
So climbing out of the teary eyes of Endgame. Great film.
Oh, so good.
Great series.
Yeah.
But going back to the producing job, what is that like producing a radio show? I mean, I know that when I was pre-Carl, when I was producing everything myself, for me it was a much lower budget setup. I mean, you're at a radio station. You've got boards in front of you. You've got so many different things happening. I know I've seen y'all on the morning shows and the evening shows. They're all like, okay, we have 6 mouses and we have 12 screens.
Yeah.
How are you able to make all that work? And what is it like?
I'm still figuring all that out. It's not. I don't want to say it's a challenge. It's fun. I like doing it because even though we're doing a lot of the same things every day, it's still different.
Right.
Like there's a routine for most of it. Like there's certain buttons that have to be pushed to make sure the audio is going out over Facebook to make sure they can hear it. There's buttons I need to make sure that no audio or music is going out over Facebook, or they're going to pull the video. We have to start over again. We have different segments, so we have different bump music, so I have to have all that lined up
Right.
to make sure we're doing that. Then I've got Spotify open. I'm trying to figure out what songs I want to come back from commercial. And then if Jay is talking to someone that we want to take that segment, post it on the Talk Facebook page, I've got to bring up this other thing and pull that if I'm not a part of the conversation because it's harder to do that. So I got to pull that, get all the markers, transfer it to a file, get on the Talk website page, type in all the info, put the file in there, find a picture of the guy or girl, whoever we're talking to, throw it down on there, post it, get ready to signal off. We got CBS News in a minute, so I got to count Jay down for that because we got to be a hard out at 8 after for CBS News. We got to hit that on time. We have a new operating system at work that right now it's having. They told us we'd have some bugs with it for a little bit, and the other day I think Tiger Country was airing on Eagle, and then Eagle was airing on Talk at one point. So it was like we didn't know, and like everything shut down, and it's 10 to 4, and we didn't know if we were going to be able to start the radio show.
Right.
So it's a lot of things that go on with it. And then, sometimes you get crazy phone calls in the middle of a segment that people just want to tell you, well, this is what I think about such and such. I'm like, sir, if you want to get on the radio, I can put you on. I don't have time to talk. Wait, don't hang up. Don't hang up. You have to hang up on those people.
Yeah.
Or you have to call the guest and get them lined up. Sometimes they don't answer their phone. You got to call them a few times. The commercial's coming to an end.
Yeah.
So it's just, there's all kind of things going on behind the scenes that you have to be aware of. And look, I make my share of mistakes daily.
Yeah.
Daily. And now with Brian's show, I'm trying to follow up Taylor. Taylor and Brian have a good connection together. They work well on the morning show. And when I came in, I told Brian, like, look, I don't want to deviate from anything you guys are doing. I want to keep that because you have a good thing going with it. So Taylor has this thing that actually I think Condon started when Condon was on there with Brian.
This day in history.
Yeah, this day in history. So that's fallen into my lap. So that's another thing I have to prep for now is get there and find, what happened in history, who was born, who died, what national day it is. Finish that show, hurry up and eat lunch real quick, and then start getting things ready for Jay's show. Or while I'm doing that, also get ready if the governor has a press conference coming up at 2:30, so I can record that, have that for Brian, email that to him, make sure nothing starts while that's going on, like CBS News pops up out of nowhere. And
Right.
it's like I need 25 more arms to keep doing things. So, but it's fun. I love it.
Yeah.
It was something that I never trained to do. I kind of jumped in head first. Brian showed me a little bit when I first started working there. I learned a lot on the morning show with Bill and Kevin, and I'm still learning more. But it's fun. Like I said, every day I get to go to work. I get to see my best friend, and we work with a great group of people. Everybody there is so friendly and so willing to help out, from IT to the salespeople to Michelle Southern was a great just wealth of knowledge for me to lean on when I first got there, who helped me out with so much. Abby Lee on 100.7 The Tiger, Brittany Rose, James Gilmore, who I mentioned, Brian, who I don't even know how Brian functions.
How does he sleep?
I don't understand. He is one of the hardest working people there, and especially with everything that started with all the COVID stuff. I mean, the man was literally at the radio station 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Just nonstop. And he gets there at like 4 in the morning or 4:30 in the morning, and he's there until 4 in the afternoon. If he stays to do a segment with us on Mondays, he does like news with us, he's there until like 5. He's got to go home, and he's got kids, and he's got to deal with that. So, but it's cool, and it's also fun to work at a place where sometimes you see some kind of famous sports people just walk around because of Matt Moscone's show. Like Ryan Clark just walks through the building. I'm like, I just saw that dude on Sports Center like 12 hours ago. Here he is walking, and he's so cool. And you can ask him a question, he'll stop and talk to you for 20 minutes about
Right.
What do you think LSU's gonna do against Bama? He's like, oh, we're gonna beat them. Just start breaking down the game 2 weeks before it was coming last year, and it's just it's just a great environment. It's literally the first job I've had where I'm excited about going to work. Like, I'm happy when I walk in the building. I'm like, cool. I can't wait to see everybody. So the producing side of it is just, I don't know if I even want to call that work. I mean, it's a lot of bells and whistles I have to keep track of, but it's still so much fun. And if you see me in the little corner right there on the live feed, I'm goofing off a lot of the time. And but we get good audience interaction on Facebook Live, and they seem to have fun with what I'm trying to do. Fun stuff for break music. Like right now, we're doing bands throughout the alphabet. So whatever letter of the day is, I'll pick 6 bands and play songs from them. I get Jay to try to guess them, and Jay's music knowledge is not that well.
Yeah, I've noticed. I've noticed.
I like to play deep cuts, but then I'll play some obvious stuff, and he still won't get it. And it's just like he'll get lucky sometimes.
Right. He got the Fallout Boy. He didn't want the Fallout Boy. Yeah, but he got Fallout Boy.
He got Fallout Boy. Well, But yeah, producing is fun. I'd like to add more stuff to that. Like I'd like to add, if we can update our video, because I think our video could be better. If we can update that and throw that into the mix, and I'll complain and be like, God, this is too much stuff for me to do, but I want to do it because it's just fun, because it's something else for me to learn, and I just have fun doing that. And I don't know. I just goes back to, if you could find something you love doing, do it. I didn't realize I'd love being a producer on a radio show.
Right.
but I love doing it. I love almost being in control of everything. I mean, if I don't hear Jay talk, I can just shut him up. I'll just turn him off. Nobody's going to hear him.
Please do that one day. Just be like, Jay, you know what? Off. You're on mute. This is Chuck P coming in on the Jay Ducote Show. I'm taking over for the day.
I have taken over. There's been a couple of episodes where Jay was out of town or he took the day off or something, and I actually had to host the show and got guests in and stuff like that. But I still had to produce at the same time, so I couldn't even get a producer in there. So
come on, Brian.
Yeah, Brian, come on. Just stick around. You're only working, 29 hours a day or whatever.
That's baby talk, man. Baby talk. Okay, so producing you have a lot going on with that as far as behind the boards. Because I know, especially from the radio show, I've seen you. I mean, you've got basically a control module set up in front of you doing that stuff.
It's like 4 monitors.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 on one side, and then I've got one here that is basically our new operating system wide orbit, and then I've got the monitor up here for video that I'm watching and looking at, making sure all that's going well. So yeah, it's in 1, 2, 3, 4 mouses.
Yeah, I mean, because
I will confuse and grab the wrong one a lot of times.
And I imagine that's never fun because I know. I mean, you got your experience from doing the podcast that you came in with. Hey, I know how to basically make a radio or a podcast show go.
Yes.
But at the same time, there's a lot of new stuff to learn. I mean, I know with this podcast, yeah, we're live on Facebook, and people, we've got one person watching us, probably my mom. But at the same time, this is a lot simpler because I'm recording this and then putting it out there. The Facebook is the only live feature of this, but with a radio show, you've got live video going to your Facebook stream. You've got live feed going to the radio, and like you said, you've got to work on timing. We don't have to cut in and out for breaks here. We just keep rolling throughout the whole show, which is fantastic for podcast. But when it comes to radio, you have to have those hard cuts and you have to have those deadlines. And it comes to that synergy between the producer and the host.
Yeah.
That they know, hey, we've got 15 seconds, and 15 seconds cut it because we have to go to a hard stop. And I've seen, some people where I'm listening to the radio and they just get cut off.
Yeah.
And it's that synergy that's missing where they're like, hey, we're going to get it down to the T where you can get that, all right, and we're out.
Yeah, it's tough. I've had to cut off Jay a couple times on our hard breaks, just because sometimes I think he'll start talking about something and not realizing, even though I'm giving him a countdown, we're almost out of time.
Right.
And he'll get caught up then trying to figure out how to get out of it. So I've just got to cut him, and I'm like, sorry, dude. And he's like, no, that's okay. That was on me. And then we're so used to when we do my ABV podcast, it's a podcast. We're not on radio. If we want to drop an F-bomb or two, it's okay.
Yeah.
We can't do that on live radio.
Yeah, live radio has to be very cautious.
Yeah, so we have to, there's been a few times where I've almost said, something, and I've got to catch myself. And I think Jay has done that a couple times as well. Or maybe he did say something once, and he said it in a way that you couldn't really, maybe the audience didn't hear it, but I kind of heard it, and we kind of looked at each other at the same time. So
and
it's
you're like, hey, careful.
Yeah, watch it. So yeah, that's another thing you got to be mindful of, and you got to let your guests know when your guests are calling or they're coming in. It's anything I can or can't say. Yeah, don't curse. Just don't drop any F-bombs.
Right. This is family friendly. We can't control the airwaves.
Exactly.
And who listens to the show.
Yeah.
At least with the podcast, we can say, hey, it's explicit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair warning. This show is when I post my videos to YouTube, it's is this made for kids? And I'm like, no, it's not made for kids.
No.
Not because that there's anything in there that per se would be terrible, but at the same time, I don't want anything to come back on me.
Yeah. I mean, someone might be offended that we're sitting here drinking a beer.
But I'm sponsored by Michelob Ultra.
Yeah, yeah. But somebody is going to be offended by that. The smallest things. So that's why when we started airing the ABV podcast on Talk, when Brian said, I want to put the podcast on this, all right, cool. So when I started going to breweries and doing the podcast, I would tell them, look, we're going to do 2 episodes. We're going to do one 1-hour episode. We're just going to keep it simple. And then we're going to do another hour. That's going to be the podcast. And you can say whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, all right, cool, let's do it. And it always worked out because everyone's pretty sober for that first hour.
So everybody's mindful.
Everybody's mindful of it. But by the end of it, everybody's ready to go. So we start my podcast, and they're like, everybody, just dropping anything they want to say, and it's great. So that makes, for good listening as well.
Yeah. I wonder if there will ever be a point in time in radio where you can maybe come in on breaks or coming in before the show starts saying, hey, this radio show is intended for mature audiences only. because they do that for television.
Yeah.
Television, they do it. I wonder if there's a way we can make that happen for radio. If it's like, hey, the whole premise of the show is not terrible for kids, but there may be some times where we slip up or we start dropping some curse words that may not be appropriate for your 18-month-old.
I think you could probably do that if you were doing it maybe as a late night show, like a midnight show, or maybe even after 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I told Brian about the podcast before, I started making sure I had a clean version and then the regular version. Not that we cursed a lot in the previous episodes, but every now and then somebody would drop an F-bomb or say something.
It happens.
I mean, we specifically, my friend Ross, who started the podcast with me, we have episodes that we do that are called, can you curse on it? Can I say it?
You go for it.
Okay. It's called The Shit Show. And The Shit Show is basically for us to drink whatever beers we want without technically promoting anybody and say whatever we want.
Right. It's your show. You do what you want.
Yeah. So we save those for that. And then when we had guests on or we were at a brewery, we kind of kept it, as clean as possible. But every now and then someone would say something. But it was easy enough for me to go back in there and bleep that out.
Right.
Because Brian was like, if you can bleep it, fine. If it's not a whole hour of bleeps, it's like it's 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. I'm like, yeah, I get that. But there's also FCC stuff, and I don't want to get anything sent to the radio station because my stupid podcast, and I forgot to bleep, shit.
Right.
I don't know
with the name of the show being that, it's kind of hard to say that. Hey, welcome to the show.
We'll make sure not to have those on air.
Right.
It literally would be an hour of bleeping. So
sometimes the gems are the gems the good stuff can be found in there once you hide all the bleeps.
Now they're normally a hot mess. They're a shit show for a reason.
That's right. So starting to kind of wrap up the episode.
Yeah.
Baton Rouge. You've been here. Your ex-wife moved away out of Baton Rouge with the kid. She's in. We're both in Gonzales. Okay, so you're in Gonzales.
Yeah.
But you work in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
What about Baton? What's 2 things about Baton Rouge that you like?
I like the passion of people that truly care about Baton Rouge, that will go out of the way to promote this city, regardless of how a lot of people just, especially outside of Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, look at Baton Rouge as just like a dumpster fire sometimes, and like
we can be,
and we can be, but we can also come together and show you the best of us.
Right.
And there's been times where we've done that, and it's been great, and it's been awesome, and it's good to be a part of. I like the fact that there's a lot of people that embrace the changes that Baton Rouge is going through, the construction with Government Street, providing those bike lanes for people and stuff like that. I love that, and just a lot of people don't give the food scene here enough credit.
Yes.
Like, we're an amalgamation of so many different styles here, but I think that's what makes us unique, that we're that amalgamation, that we're surrounded by Lafayette and New Orleans who have their own styles. We can kind of take both of those and play with them and have Baton Rouge's own style. And we have great restaurants, we have great chefs. Unfortunately, they're all struggling right now because of what's going on, and hopefully, I know a lot of them won't be coming back, but hopefully most of them can. And I know that when they do, the people here that truly love Baton Rouge will support them and raise them up and make sure those people are still here. So it's weird. Growing up, I always looked at Baton Rouge like it was New York because it was over this bridge, and like it just seemed magical as a kid. We'd come here on the weekends and we'd go to McDonald's and we'd go to the mall, and it's like, this is amazing. Like, this is crazy. And then once moving here, I was like, it still kind of was amazing that, like, hey, I'm living in Baton Rouge now. Like, this is cool. I've got these new friends, and we're doing cool stuff. And all my old friends are now looking at Baton Rouge like, oh, we can't go over there. We got to cross a bridge to go over there. Like,
yeah,
there's crime in Baton Rouge. There's crime everywhere.
Right.
You can't escape that. I don't know, man. I like living here. I mean, even though I'm not living here right now, if I could afford it, I'd love to move back here. I'd love to buy a house and just be a part of this community and support everything that we're doing here to make Baton Rouge a better place.
Yeah, I love that, man. We're getting there day by day.
Yeah, it's a it's a sprint, not a race, or was it a race?
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's it. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, it's just gonna take time, and everybody's
Yeah.
got to be patient and be willing to work together and come together.
And that's the hardest part is the patient part.
Yes.
Everybody wants it to happen overnight. They want the change to happen overnight. They want everything to blow up overnight and be great and successful and everything. But it's good things take time.
Yeah.
And when you put in the time and you build something, it can become that gem that you want it to, so long as you put in that time and effort.
Yep. You have to put the passion.
Yeah.
As much passion as you have for that thing, you have to put it into it and make it work and make it grow.
Yeah. If you lack the passion, you lack the time, some's going to fall short somewhere.
Yeah.
And when it does fall short, people notice.
Very quickly, and it will let you know that they noticed.
And you never hear the end of it.
No, social
Never.
media. Gotta love it.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
So what are you've done a lot in your career so far, and you've avoided that cubicle space job. What are a couple lessons that you've gathered along the way in this process thus far?
Trust yourself. Like, when I was younger, I second guessed myself a lot. Like, I was in situations where maybe I was just too nervous or just too scared or just didn't know enough about it, and those ended up being some regrets that I had on opportunities missed.
Right.
And the one thing I've learned over the years is, like, you have to trust yourself and believe that you're making the right choice, and understand that it's not going to be perfect and it's not going to be something that's just handed to you. You're going to have to work for it. But if it's something you believe in, and you feel that butterfly feeling in your gut, then I think that means you're on the right path to where you want to be. Good loyal friends are hard to come by.
Yep.
I have a group of friends who I used to have a large group of friends, and over the years they've wandered off, or I've wandered off. Either I noticed I didn't want to be in that scene, or that person just was a little bit too toxic for me, and it just wasn't where I wanted to be. But when you find those friends, hold on to them, keep them around you, because it may not seem like they're going to give you shit, they're going to give you a hard time, but when you need them there, those are the true friends that you're going to count on to be there for you, and they will be. I tell my son that all the time. He's got a great core group of friends right now, even in high school. And I said, dude, hold on to that group, man. You've got a good group of kids there. Like, they will. He broke his arm playing soccer, and literally for the next few weeks they were waiting on. They would come to his house after school and wait on him hand and foot, and like bring him food and like take him where he needed to go and stuff. I'm like, not a lot of people are going to do that for you, dude, when you get older. But if you have this core group of friends and you stay loyal to them, and you be honest with them and be there for them when they need you, they can stay with you for the rest of your life. I mean, I have friends who I thought when I was younger they were gonna be my best friends forever. I haven't seen them 30 years. I haven't seen them since I left high school. So I think trust in yourself and just find a good core group of people that you know you can believe in.
I love that, man. That's no truer words have been spoken when it comes to friends, and just understanding who your real friends are, and really taking the time to be like, all right, are they there for me and I for them, or are they there for some other alternative motive? And because when you take the time and you reflect on that, you can read through it. You can figure out who is actually there to truly be your friend, and you can also realize who is there to just get something out of you.
Yeah, for sure.
Or get something out of the situation that y'all are in.
Yeah.
And then knowing yourself 100%. You can't do anything well if you don't know who you are as a person.
No. Also, don't loan family members money. That never works out. Never.
little ringer in there. I love it. Yeah.
Last one in there.
Yeah. Okay. So the final question for you is, what can I do to help you?
What can you, Patty G, do to help me?
Yeah.
Just be my friend.
I'm in.
There you go. Say,
We'll
well, share
drink
beers
beer.
with me.
That's it.
I mean, hell, I'm here on your podcast, man. I appreciate being here. This has been awesome.
Dude, thank you for coming.
This has been great. I'm glad you asked me to come. This has been a fun time.
Absolutely. We made it through COVID.
We did. We're still there. We're fighting it.
We're fighting it. At least we're in person.
Yes, we're in person.
We're back to being in person.
Baby steps, man. Just patience. We're back to patience.
I'll take whatever I can get.
Now we just got to deal with hurricane season.
Yeah. yeah. But we made it through 2 months of isolation. We can make it through hurricane season.
Yeah, I mean,
The exterior just might be a little more damaged.
Well, the problem with making it through hurricane season is you want to get together and have hurricane parties.
This is true. Back to that Louisiana culture. The Baton Rouge.
Yes.
We love to party. We love to be around together with
we
people.
will out party any state in the nation.
We will
Hands
outdrink
down.
football stadiums.
Good, will we? Outdrink hotels, cities, whatever you got.
Oh, I love it, man. Well, thank you, Chuck, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
And I appreciate everybody else for tuning in.
Yes.
Whether you are listening or you're watching, thank you very much. I know we've been at this for quite some time, and I hope you drank along with us. If not, that's okay too. So I'm here with Chuck P., producer, podcaster, drummer, just the all-around extraordinaire that he is. And also check out him producing on the Jay Ducote Show and co-hosting. I'm going to throw the co-hosting in there.
Yeah, man. Do that.
Co-hosting with the Jay Ducote Show on Talk 107.3, 4 to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday, every week. So tune in if you're in Baton Rouge. If you're not in Baton Rouge, tune into the Facebook Talk 107.3 page and check them out. And also check out the Patty G Show on whatever platform that you find us on, and share the show, share the podcast, and do what you can to make your community a better place. So I'm Patty G, signing off of the Patty G Show here with Chuck P. Y'all have a great evening. Thanks.
Peace.